Coming up on NTC News, NIU is mourning the loss of an alum and police officer killed in the line of duty.
And violence at Stevenson Hall results in 2 arrests. We'll have the latest.
Plus, a task force addresses crime and poverty when making plans to bring changes to a neighborhood near campus. NTC News starts now.
You're watching NTC News, DeKalb County's only television news source, on the campus of Northern Illinois University and from the Northern Television Center. This is NTC News Tonight.
Hello, I'm Austin Hansen, and thank you for joining us.
And I'm Jesse Schlacks. Today is Thursday, November 9th. Family and friends are preparing to say their goodbyes to 30-year-old Rockford police officer and NIU alumnus Jamie Cox. Cox was killed in the line of duty earlier this week. I went to Rockford to learn more about his life and legacy. The fallen officer's police car is stationed outside District 3 headquarters in Rockford, draped with flowers and purple bunting. Flags are flying at half-staff. 30-year-old officer Jamie Cox died after joining the force less than a year ago. Officials say it started with a traffic stop near East State Street and Dawn Avenue when he pulled over 49-year-old Eddie Patterson.
Officer Cox was involved in a scuffle during the traffic stop that resulted in the officer becoming entangled in the suspect's vehicle. It is believed that Officer Cox fired his weapon. Officer
O'Shea says the altercation ended about 2 blocks north when Patterson's pickup truck crashed into a tree. Community members set up a makeshift memorial at the accident site. Mourners wrote handwritten messages on balloons calling Cox a hero. Residents and fellow police officers have been filtering in and out throughout the day to pay their respects. The Winnebago County Coroner's Office recently ruled Cox's death a homicide. He is survived by his wife. Before working as a patrol officer, Cox graduated from NIU 3 years ago with a degree in environmental studies. One of his professors has fond memories.
When we talked, he wanted to go, he originally was thinking about working for a park district, doing enforcement that way. And when I saw he became a police officer, it fit in perfectly with his views and what he wanted to do. He really wanted to make sure that people were doing the right thing, that protect.
Despite having his life cut short, those who knew Officer Cox said he made an enormous difference. Visitation for Officer Cox is from 3 to 9 tomorrow evening at First Free Evangelical Church in Rockford. His police funeral service begins at 10 o'clock Sunday morning.
DeKalb police say they have zero tolerance for gun violence and are taking steps to reduce it. The department hosted a meeting this week to address concerns regarding safety in the city. Authorities say there have been 52 weapon offenses so far this year, which is a 22% increase from a year ago. DeKalb police say they want to install surveillance cameras in areas where gun violence has been most prevalent.
DeKalb police have 2 men in custody following an investigation into the aggravated assault incident at Stevenson Towers last month. Original reports state that the suspects were involved in a physical altercation in the main lobby and that one of the suspects displayed a handgun. Brian Allen of Blue Island and Isaiah Rucker of Freeport have been arrested and charged with mob action and battery. Neither Allen nor Rucker have any affiliation with the university.
The city of DeKalb is looking to prevent more violence through a newly assembled committee that hopes to bring life back to the Annie Glidden neighborhood. I attended their last meeting and got to meet the masterminds behind the plans. The Annie Glidden Revitalization Task Force met on Tuesday to continue discussing the project. The main issue the committee is addressing is to simply restore the northern Annie Glidden area. DeKalb management analyst Aaron Stevens is assisting with project management, and he says the area is too high density.
That area was formerly designed for student housing and students. The area naturally is a high density area. With the change in demographics, the city is looking at whether or not it would be beneficial to rezone.
Stevens said that rezoning could lead to a lower density area, resulting in less crime and problems for the city. Meetings for the project are split. There's 3 task force meetings. These meetings are for the people who were appointed to the revitalization plan. There's also 3 community meetings, which are all open to the public. The idea behind those meetings is to get locals informed on the plan while also getting feedback and ideas for DeKalb.
We are depending on community members to provide ideas and recommendations for how they would like to see the community be transformed and how they would like it to really be shaped and designed going forward in the future.
Upcoming community meetings are not scheduled for a specific date yet, but Stevens did say the next one will be after the holiday season around January or February. The city wants this to be a community project and urges all citizens to voice their ideas. Information about future meeting dates is on the City of DeKalb website under AGN Revitalization Plan.
It's been a pretty cold week so far, hasn't it?
Oh yeah. Let's go to Caitlin at the Weather Center with a look at today's weather.
Today has been mostly sunny with calm winds and a temperature near 40 degrees. You can expect lower temperatures and possible rain during the weekend. I'll touch more on that later in the show, but for now, back to you guys.
Coming up next on NTC, a look at what's making news in the world of politics. Congress is looking to reform gun control after the Texas massacre.
And NIU has selected a new chief financial advisor. What might that mean for students and the school? We'll be right back.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. Heard about the scarecrow who won an award? He was outstanding in his field.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Cook County Commissioner John Frietchie wants voters to weigh in on legalizing marijuana in Illinois. Frietchie says legalizing marijuana will boost revenue throughout the state and could bring in up to $500 million. The vote will take place next Wednesday at the Cook County Board meeting.
The Texas church where a gunman killed dozens of churchgoers will be demolished. The pastor of the First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs plans on tearing down the building. This after Devin Kelly opened fire during service last Sunday. 26 people, ranging between 18 months to 77 years old, lost their lives. The spokesperson for the church says continuing services would be too painful after the massacre. Members of the church hope to build another church on the property.
The U.S. Senate is proposing new gun control legislation in response to the shooting in Texas. Democrats introduced the assault weapons ban of 2017, which would ban the sale, manufacture, and import of military-style assault weapons and high-capacity ammo magazines. Republicans are also introducing new legislation that will expedite the uploading of conviction records into the background check system. The last assault weapons ban expired in 2004. President Trump shared his stance on the current gun reform after 2 recent massacres in Las Vegas and Texas. And a former congressman is now behind bars after a high-profile sex offense case.
Adam Carr has more in this week's Political Pit Stop.
Thanks, Austin. President Donald Trump is insisting that mental health, not guns, was the culprit for the Texas church shooter. Mr. Trump's response of it not being a gun situation echoes his sentiments about the mass shooting in Las Vegas last month. This comes after he signed a bill earlier this year making it easier for mentally ill people to access weapons. It tossed out a regulation geared to keep guns away from those receiving full disability benefits due to mental illness and people who are unable to manage their Social Security benefits. Republicans say this regulation and other gun bills wouldn't have stopped the Texas shooter. President Trump will be in the sights of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during his 8-day trip across Asia. Mr. Trump met with South Korea's prime minister, who is seeking solidarity with the U.S. against North Korea's nuclear weapon program. Trump on Monday in Tokyo said that, quote, the era of strategic patience is over for North Korea. South Korean officials say now is a time to tighten sanctions against North Korea. An attorney representing the man charged with attacking Republican Senator Rand Paul says he was not motivated by politics. Paul is recovering from several fractures and bruised lungs after being assaulted by a neighbor Friday in his Kentucky home. 59-year-old Rene Boucher faces federal charges for his assault against a congressperson, along with local indictments. Neighbors say Boucher and Paul have had a long-standing dispute over trivial domestic issues. The men previously practiced together as physicians. And finally, former Congressman Anthony Weiner is reporting to prison this week to begin serving a nearly 2-year sentence for federal sex offenses. Weiner pleaded guilty earlier this year to transferring obscene material to a minor. The sentencing judge said that while he was sexting the 15-year-old girl, he was in contact with nearly 20 others. Weiner will serve his sentence at a federal medical center in Massachusetts. He served as a Democratic U.S. representative for New York until 2011. That's it for this week's Political Pit Stop. I am Adam Carr. Back to you guys.
NIU's new Chief Financial Officer will come on board in January. Her name is Sarah McGill. She will partner with Acting President Lisa Freeman and her senior leadership team to work on financial planning and budgeting. McGill has held administrative positions for more than 11 years and wants to implement transparency. The Board of Trustees plans to approve McGill's hire at its meeting on November 16th. If approved, McGill will begin her new role on January 1st.
As the president of the Student Association, Rachel Jacobs is often the face and voice of the Northern Illinois University student body. She's had 3 internships, including one on Capitol Hill with U.S. Representative Robin Kelly. She's won awards that allowed her to study in Indonesia and was named this year's Student Lincoln Laureate.
Reporter Bea Garcia had the chance to speak with her, and she joins us now. Bea?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Rachel Jacobs, Lincoln Laureate Award recipient and Student Association president. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
So this week you had an editorial in the Northern Star about the gun issues that we've been having on campus. What are some things that the Student Association is doing to address these issues?
So one of the first things we've been doing is we've been meeting with different administrators and different representatives from the NIU Police and also the DeKalb Police Department to increase security and just to make sure that our students feel safe. And then kind of out of the recent violence that has kind of increased within the past 2 or 3 weeks, we actually wanted to launch a positivity campaign. So last year we launched our One Love NIU campaign, and we want to bring it back this year, but this time with a twist and a focus on the gun violence that's been occurring in our community. So on Friday we're going to be tying red ribbons around campus and around parts of the DeKalb community just to show that we're going to take back our community and we're going to make sure that we're showing that we're here for our students. And then I'll also be releasing a statement at the same time.
Great. So while being president of the Student Association and also president of Alpha Phi, what made you want to become so involved on campus?
I guess I've just always been kind of motivated, and I've always wanted to give back to NIU because they've done so much for me. Even starting my freshman year, I was always really involved in a lot of different organizations, and I want to go to law school. So it was definitely one of the motivating factors behind it. And then also I love being able to interact with all the Huskies on campus.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about being the Lincoln Laureate Award recipient?
It's been a crazy couple of months. I mean, even when my departments told me they were nominating me for the award, I didn't believe it. And then the fact that I actually won it is kind of crazy. So I feel so honored, and it's really amazing to be recognized for all the work I've been doing, but also I couldn't have done it without all the support from NIU.
Yeah, according to the NIU website, you were quoted saying that you want to dedicate your career to Southeast Asian studies. What created that passion in you?
So my freshman year, I took a class called History of Genocide, and it was focusing on human rights. And so I did my case study on Southeast Asian countries, and then I ended up wanting to study abroad there. Studied abroad there twice, and I love it. So that's what I want to do.
That's great. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Let's send it back to the desk.
Students like Rachel Jacobs is what many would call a leader, and those interested in taking on more leadership roles have a chance to learn exactly how to make a difference. NIU is hosting its annual Leadership Week. There are various speakers, professional panels, and other activities scheduled. The biggest event of the week is the Lead Summit, a leadership conference which develops different leadership styles.
So it's trying to help them not only understand what their leadership style is, but how they can build upon that.
The NIU Lead Summit will be Saturday, November 11th at Barcema Hall, starting at 9 a.m. Registration for the event is still open.
The NIU Red and Black Gala is rolling out the red carpet. The NIU Foundation hosts the annual gala to help with scholarship support for NIU students. The glitzy event highlights awards, stories, and performances for NIU students and staff. The gala takes place at 6 p.m. on November 8th at Drury Lane Center in Oakbrook Terrace. With today reaching record lows, I wonder what the rest of the week is going to bring.
Especially for the weekend. How's the weather looking, Caitlin?
This weekend will be mostly cold. Looking into Friday will be mostly sunny, becoming cloudy overnight. The high will be right around 34 degrees Fahrenheit with winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour and gusts up to 15 with a low around 25 degrees. Saturday will be cloudy with a freezing drizzle possible in the late afternoon. The high will be right around 38 degrees Fahrenheit with winds 5 to 10 miles per hour and gusts up to 15 possible with a low near 26 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunday, there's a possibility 40% chance of morning showers with a high near 40 and a low near 36 degrees. And winds will be light with that 5 to 10 mile an hour range. Looking into the week, we have Monday with 46 as a high and a low of 30 degrees. Tuesday, we'll see the sun with a 48 degree high and a 41 degree low. Wednesday will be partly sunny with 48 as your high and 34 degrees as your low. And going into Thursday, we will see more rain with chilly temperatures of 49 degrees and a low of 38. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Caitlin. Coming up next on NTC News, we'll have the latest
The NIU football team faces off against their rival, the Ball State Cardinals. We'll preview tonight's matchup.
And we'll find out which student athlete's small stature is making a huge impact in this week's Leader of the Pack.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
For all the papas out there, let's stop what we're doing and take a moment to be with our kids. They can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments. It doesn't really matter. Every time dads take a moment to be with their kids, it's pretty momentous. So let's all take a moment to make a moment today.
NIU Athletics is asking for assistance to support student athletes and future developments of the program. NTC reporter Tom Burton has more on the story.
NIU Athletics is in the midst of their Week of Giving initiative that they call Huskies Invest. The goal of the initiative is to raise upwards of $100,000 for continued support in cost of attendance scholarships and advancements throughout the program. T.J. Feuerbach, Senior Athletic Director for Development and Revenue Generation, said there are more reasons why the campaign is trying to raise money.
We also have a couple other projects that are kind of projects of mine, whether it's a nutrition center that runs about $150,000 to finish up for our student athletes, or the video project, which helps benefit the basketball, soccer, and volleyball programs here in the Convocation Center.
Cost of attendance for students provides things such as room and board, books, and other outside resources to student athletes. You can visit the campaign's website, huskysathleticfund.com, to get a complete breakdown of money allocation. Sean T. Frazier, Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics, said he expects to reach the $100,000 goal and said this was a good time to hold the Week of Giving.
We've been dealing with some significant adversity from the state around resources given to higher education. So it's clear that we have need. It's also clear that we've had significant amount of success in all of our sports. So to be able to sustain what we currently have and to take it to the next level, we're going to need external dollars.
The administration also receives a lot of support from within for their student athletes. Men's basketball coach John Borovich said Huskies should support each other.
And that's what we do as members of the athletic department. We greatly support our student athletes, the athletic department as a whole. We try to represent the university in the best way that we can.
Currently, the initiative has nearly 100 donors and has raised upwards of $66,000. For NTC News, I'm Tom Burton.
You can donate to the program at www.niusustain.com or on the NIU Athletics official website.
The Husky football team has another rare Thursday night game.
Our own David Sivia breaks that down in this week's edition of NTC Sports.
That's right, Austin and Jesse. Another Thursday game and another important game for the NIU Huskies. Let's get right to it. Coming off the loss in a key Thursday game against Toledo, the Huskies look to bounce back against the Ball State Cardinals. Ball State is coming in with a 2-7 record, winless in 5 conference games this season. The Huskies had a 4-game win streak snapped last Thursday in a 27-17 loss against the MAC West leading Toledo Rockets. Injured Week 1 starting quarterback Ryan Graham has returned from his shoulder injury, but as of right now, no starting quarterback has been announced for this week's game. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. across the street at Husky Stadium. With NIU cheerleading being able to compete nationally again, strong leadership is important to keep the team focused. NTC sports reporter Mateo Avila caught up with the cheerleading captain for this week's Leader of the Pack.
NIU senior cheerleader Macy Miller has proven that big things come in small packages, as she has taken on a leadership role with the cheerleading team this year. Coming off a rough year that saw the team lose their coach mid-season, Macy stepped up and took on a coaching role while also being the captain and club president. But despite all that tumbled on her plate, Macy stresses the importance of team friendship.
I do a lot of things in practice and outside of practice, constantly checking up on people, just seeing how things are going. I feel like we're not only just cheerleaders on the mats, but we're friends outside of here.
The team is now gearing up to compete nationally again after having to drop to a lower tournament last season. Through extensive practices and routines, this team is becoming more in tune and synchronized with each other. And new head coach Aubrey Gaglione is thankful that Macy helped keep the program alive.
I don't know if the program would even be in existence without her. I want to say she's like the cheer mom. She's always on top of her game. She always has she's the one that always has Advil or Band-Aids or anything like that. But Macy has definitely kept the program together.
As a senior, Macy has experienced just about all there is to experience with NIU cheerleading, and she is looking to pass those experiences down to her younger teammates. As the team gains more chemistry and trust with each other, the goal becomes more and more clear.
In general, our first goal was to become a club. So after we've become a club, now it's just like fundraising all the time to go to nationals, because last year we went to a nationals, but it was Can-Am Nationals. It's a little smaller, and in the past years we've always gone NCAA. Our freshmen last year didn't get to experience it, And my one goal is to just make sure that everyone that hasn't had the opportunity to see it sees it.
Macy's will to keep the cheerleading program alive, as well as pass down the cheerleading experience, leave her this week's Leader of the Pack. For NTC Sports, I'm Mateo Avila.
You can catch Macy and the rest of the NIU cheerleading team in the end zones and on the sidelines cheering on all the major NIU sporting events. Let's take a quick look at other sports around campus. Women's basketball bludgeoned Benedictine University Saturday 96-28 in an exhibition game that looks to carry on the momentum into Eastern Illinois tomorrow night for their regular season opener. The men's basketball team are tipping off their season against St. Francis tonight at the Convo, 7 p.m. sharp. The volleyball team looks to bump, set, and spike their way into the win column against Ball State at home on Friday. They wrap up their season Saturday against Toledo before possibly entering the MAC tournament. And the wrestling squad has their second meet of the year on Saturday, this time at Eastern Michigan Open. Moving on from the Convo to the United Center to check up on the Chicago Bulls, and so far, it hasn't been pretty. The 2-7 Bulls are matching up against the Indiana Pacers tomorrow at the Madhouse. The Bulls are coming off a 5-point loss in Toronto, highlighted by the return of Bobby Portis. Portis made his season debut, netting a double-double off of 21 points and 13 boards. The Pacers sit at 5-7, led by 23 points a game from Victor Oladipo. Game time will be at 7 p.m. sharp. From the hardwood to the ice, the Blackhawks have also had their share of struggles this season. They come into tonight's game against the Flyers with a record of 7-6-2. They have only had 2 of their last 5, which one of their wins being against their opponents tonight. Winger Patrick Kane once again leading the team with 14 points on 5 goals and 9 assists on the season. Captain center Jonathan Tays and young forward Ryan Hartman are second on the team with 10 points each. Netminder Corey Crawford was named last week's #1 star for the NHL. To the gridiron we go. We start with football, and we're going to finish there too, as the Bears come off their bye week taking on the Packers. The Bears have won 2 of their last 3 games, with their newfound stark defense being their catalyst. The Bears have forced 10 turnovers and 23 sacks so far this season. This game looks to be different than most Bears-Packers games, though, as the Packers are without their star quarterback Aaron Rodgers due to injury. The Packers have lost 3 straight since losing Aaron Rodgers with a broken collarbone. That will be it for NTC Sports, and as always, I am David Sivia, and as always, go Husky. Let's send it back to the desk.
The NIU School of Art is looking to the future with their newest exhibit. NTC's Adam Carr brings us there.
The Jack Olson Art Gallery opened the 2017 High School Invitational Monday. The exhibit features arts from students from area high schools in all different styles. From social commentaries pieces to sculptures, this exhibit is looking to feature creativity from prospective NIU students. Gallery coordinator Peter Van Ale wants anyone who sees this exhibit to realize the passion and ability of the students behind the art.
A lot of them are very talented and have spent a lot of time honing their craft at this point and are ready to get into college, and hopefully they will join us here at NIU.
NIU, as stated on the website, has a very respected art program throughout the Midwest. Doug Boughton, head of the Division of Art and Design Education, loves showing off that local high school art programs can also hold their own expectations very high.
It's also a wonderful representation of the kind of standard that can be achieved in high school art programs by the students in high schools. And these students may or may not enter a field of art as a profession, but they certainly are showing that they understand what the arts are about.
While it is about the appreciation of the art itself, Van Ale knows that exhibits for high school students are integral for the long-term success of the art program.
They're ultimately what keeps us in business. If we do not recruit those people that came out of high school programs, we would not have students.
The exhibit runs through the 16th and will have a special closing ceremony that night. For NTC News, I'm Adam Carr.
The exhibit is free, and both Boughton and Van Ale encourage everyone to stop by to admire the art.
This Saturday is Veterans Day, and all of us from the NTC family would like to give a heartfelt thank you to all veterans for their service. That's it for us. Thanks for watching. NTC News Tonight is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University.
In collaboration with WNIJ, we're going to leave you now with a group of NIU students known as Northern Wind Trio singing Cavalry. You can hear their entire performance on Thursday night at 7 on 89.5 FM and WNIJ.org.